You're watching Detroit on Deck. Here are your hosts, Dave Siseski and Josh Clark.
What's up, everybody? Clarky, what's going on? Dave Siseski, Josh Clark, as always, Detroit on Deck. It's a beautiful Saturday. There's no snow where I'm looking out right now. I hope the same for you, buddy, right?
Oh, there's snow behind me, but I ain't looking at it.
We're ignoring it, right? No snow here in Ohio, but I'll be in Michigan soon. Speaking of Michigan, Josh, first things first, Sherrone Moore gets a deal. He's the man. We all kind of seen it coming. I think we kind of wanted to see Michigan flirt with some other candidates. Would have been nice. But he does officially get a 5-year, $27.5 million. That's it's like $5.5 million. That's a lot of money for a guy that, has only coached, I guess, 3 games as a head coach. But he's the man, and I'm curious what your thoughts are.
Yeah, I'm with you there. It's a lot of money for an unproven guy. I mean, he did win the big games that, he needed to last year. So, I mean, that kind of definitely helped his case a little bit that he can, perform on the big stage, but it was also a hardball scheme, you know what I mean? So I'd be curious to see, what type of, scheme and, things he program to see if he can continue that success. But, yeah, I was kind of dumbfounded by the number when you told me that. I just think that it's a bit too much for somebody that's not proven.
Yeah, I agree, man. I mean, listen, I'm excited because I loved, his post game, conversations he had, and he was just throwing it out there. I will say this though, if we're being mature, I want to see the fire. Want to see him also contain it as well when he needs to, especially in some of those post games. But I guess you see it from Ryan Day too, right? So when he attacked, I don't know, him and Lou Holtz going after it, which was just something else, right? A senior citizen. But, that's Ohio State, and that's for another day. But what I'm curious is the conversations that I've heard, the rumors, I guess you could say, is that Jesse Minter is for sure going with Jim Harbaugh. If that's the case, I'm a tad concerned because who's this guy going to bring in as his staff? Is it going to be a couple of people that we don't know that are unproven? Because at the University of Michigan, coming off a national championship, I'd like to see some names on the staff. You?
Oh, I agree. And one name that I would love to see on the staff, he actually played under this guy in college at the University of Oklahoma, is Bob Stoops.
Ooh.
I think Bob Stoops would be a phenomenal add to this staff. He has a national championship pedigree. He's used to being in big games to kind of help the rookie head coach. And there's a history there, like I said, playing under him in college. So definitely a name that I would like to see at least tossed around and be up for consideration.
I'm going to give you a name that I think is going to be out there, and it's because he's already there as a running backs coach, Mike Hart, as an offensive coordinator. I could see that. He's been coaching for a couple different teams, came back to Michigan a few years ago. I definitely think he's going to be on the list right now. Mike Hart knows the life of a running back, one of the best to ever play at Michigan. Had some good moments with the Colts, right? Some here and there. But, he was a little undersized for the NFL, but heck of a college player, one of the best. I think he'll be out there, but I'm with you. I'd like to see a proven guy, especially when your head coach is unproven. You know what I'm saying? I mean, Michigan loves him. The country fell in love with him in those 3 games. I will tell you, yes, he beat Ohio State. I mean, this is Jim Harbaugh's program and his game plan. The Penn State game was kind of concerning because we barely beat them, and Drew Aller is nothing special.
I remember it, that was an ugly wet day, though. So I mean,
it was.
Nasty type of, that's the Big Ten football, though. You got to be able to win those nasty, in the trenches games, and they were able to do that. So
you're right. It's still a dub, but it looked ugly, right? And I
100%.
A little concerning. I thought, but you're right. That does happen. I mean, and if we're really talking about it, it can happen to anybody, right? Green Bay almost beat the 49ers. Wet day, right? Things can happen. Weather can become a factor. Listen, Moore's the head coach. We kind of saw it coming. We did want to see some names out there. That's the fun of it, right? That's what we do, right? This is the reason why we have these conversations. If we just said, hey, it's this way and we don't care about anyone else, it wouldn't be any fun. But nevertheless, they made the decision as soon as they could. I actually thought you had to wait a week for that, but apparently no. They did. They just went with it. Harbaugh's gone. It's a new page. It's really it's a situation where if you're more, I think with the players, there's some familiarity there, and I think that kept a lot of guys there too. Because if a new name came in, I think you would have seen a ton of players transferring out. What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, it depends on the name, like if it's a, let's say tier 3 type of coach, yeah, I could definitely see, a bunch of guys transferring out. But if you're able to land a bigger coach, like we had kind of mentioned, like a, Dabo Sweeney, a PJ Fleck, whatever, I think you would have saw, some guys stay and then also some guys coming at that point.
Yeah,
but,
of course, of course.
And these players that are in the program, like they obviously have loyalty to Sherron Moore. I mean, Zach Mentor, now a former Wolverine, actually, mentioned on his own, X account that Harbaugh's gone. It's Papa Moore time. So like the whole school, the whole alumni.
Who said that?
All the players, like they all wanted him. So from day one of Harbaugh leaving, it was writing on the wall that he was going to be the head coach.
Who tweeted that out? Mentor. Josh Mentor?
Zach Mentor.
I love it. I love that. I mean, I think he's going to be a first-round pick, even though, with the injury. But, so, Josh, let's move our attention now to I want to talk a little NBA before we get into the NFL. Obviously, a lot going on there. But what in the world is going on in the no-defense NBA, exciting offense? Oh, my gosh. Everybody wants to score around 70 points. Luka went mad crazy.
Just in the last week, you've had Karl Anthony Towns go for 62, and Embiid go for 73 last night.
And D Book last night went for like 60 something.
Did he really last night?
Yeah.
Okay. I was asleep before that game was over.
Right. I think
they West Coast.
Yeah, but listen, I think if you're looking at and here's the final stats. Now, your Pacers did get the win; they got the dub. 133-131, but Booker 62 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. He only had 4 assists, which means that man was jacking up shots.
Jacking, right?
Which
that's Kobe impressing.
Right. Kobe when he went for was it like 60 when he shot like 45 times or whatever. That was the end of his career, but we all liked it. But listen, the NBA is seeing some things now. I will say the most impressive one I saw that I got to see, because I didn't see Luka's. I was watching a little bit here and there, but I was doing my show for news, is Embiid, because it seemed like, oh my gosh, like the guy can score so easy, so quickly. But Luka, man, he's like, I feel like everybody was like, okay, superstar for sure, top 5 player. Yeah, he's great. He has taken another leap this year. And I wonder, and a lot of people will say, oh, it's this and that, but like, do you feel like this man took another step and is even getting better, which is kind of scary at this point in his career?
Luka or Embiid?
Yeah, Luka.
No, I mean, Luka, he was at the age of, he started playing pro ball at 14, I believe.
But he's getting better, which is scary.
Drafted into the NBA at like 19, I think it was. Like, yeah, the kid's absolutely ridiculous. And the fact that he did it in front of Atlanta.
Yeah.
And Atlanta.
With Trae Young, we all know.
The front office that absolutely traded him on draft night like that, that's got to feel good for him to be in Atlanta doing that.
What did Trae Young put up last night? That's what I'm curious, because if he didn't do anything spectacular.
I was going to say, I watched the whole second half of that game, and it was more DeJounte Murray and Bogdanovich that was doing something. Like,
all right, Trae Young, okay, and this is crazy that it goes under the radar. 30 points, 11 assists. Like, it's not bad, right?
He must have did a lot of that damage in the first half, because like I said, I watched the whole second half, and he didn't do
but, I mean, they lost by 15, so. Right.
Yeah, Luka is he's a top 5 player probably right now in the NBA. I mean, he's only going to get better. The kid's 23, I think. So it's kind of ridiculous at this point, how young he is and how much, of a career he still has ahead of him. Like, so the sky's the limit for him, obviously.
And I'm a Kentucky guy, so I love Cat, but at the same time, man, he jacked up so many shots to try to get 70.
Yeah.
Like, he was not passing at all. He wasn't even looking for his teammates.
And that's what cost him the game.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, okay, cool, you put up 62 points or whatever it was, but you lost the game, dude. Like,
Ben, that's kind of the mindset. You know what I mean? Like, going to the Lions for a minute, like they're going to give the number 1 receiver what they want, but they're going to I mean, like, they're going to compete and they want to win the game still. You know what I mean? Like, that's got to be your mindset. Like, yeah, I think they only lost that game by like 4-2 or something like that. You know, talking about the Timberwolves with Cat. So I mean, there's no point to jack up them shots. I mean, one game can determine home court advantage come playoffs. A tough Western Conference where they're a top 3 seed right now. So
yeah, and listen, we always bring it back to Detroit with the Pistons. I think it just shows you need to have like a few guys, like dudes. Like you think of Boston, they got Brown and they got Tatum. Like if you take one of those guys away, they're not the same team. Phoenix, they got like, I don't know, three guys, right? Like 4 guys. They got a lot of dudes, right? Main guys, you got Booker, you got Durant, you got Beal. Okay, that Detroit ain't playing with those guys. So you look at your pieces. Bogdanovich, the deal or what they want has come out, and I think it's too late in my opinion. I think last year if they were going to make that deal, they want a first round and they want a good player. Not going to happen. I don't think you're going to get it. You know what I mean?
No. I agree, especially with the way his contract is right now, $230+ million.
Yeah,
it's just,
and he's older, man.
Yeah, I mean, sure, he can still straight. He can knock down some shots for a contending team. You know what I mean?
Right.
Put him out there on an OKC with like Shea running the point. Like
perfect.
That's dangerous. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that would bite at something like that with all the first round picks that they have. And, getting a veteran out there, who does have some post season experience. Dating back to his days with the Pacers and stuff. But
I would love that. I mean, but I feel like he's the kind of guy that's going to end up with like, and I hate this, Josh, but like the Lakers, because like, LeBron wants, he's going to turn into prime LeBron, and I know he's still playing good, but like he drives and they need shooters on the perimeter and they have nobody. So it's like, okay, let's go pick him up, and then, they'll go nowhere. But I don't want anybody on that roster personally, and I don't think they have draft picks to send out there. I think
the Lakers roster, the one guy I would want on the Lakers roster is Austin Reeves.
See, here's the thing. I could see them maybe doing that because he's kind of underachieved a little bit this year for what kind of money they gave him. Austin Reeves, I always liked him. I think it was Oklahoma State, right? Was it Oklahoma State?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, or was it Oklahoma? So. It was Oklahoma, I believe.
Actually, it was one of the Oklahoma schools. Yeah.
But anyways, I remember when I saw him in the tournament, I'm like, dude, this guy's like sneaky good, and I feel like now he's just kind of like, he got a lot of love early on, because I think
he's basically in the NBA what Jimmer Fredette was supposed to be.
Jimmer did some good things though overseas. Like after the
but
fact,
I mean,
that
coming out of college, the way he could shoot the ball, things of that, like, actually came into his own after, the way that Fredette never could. Like, he bought into a system, and, Fredette just wanted to be that guy. So,
yeah, I mean, and then taking a look at Austin Reeves, honestly, right now, he's putting up 15 a game. I mean, and he's shooting 50% from the field. I mean, right now, you put him on this team, he's already the second best player on Detroit.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And that's the thing, though, too. Like, you have a young core right now, but what's the one thing that they are lacking? They're lacking, shooting, obviously, outside of Bogdanovich.
Oh, they have no shooting.
Outside of Bogdanovich, really. But even he's struggling this year, I feel like.
Yeah.
So,
well, he's got nobody else to help him, right? So, like, if
you want Kate or Jaden to succeed, whoever you're going to have run the point, like, you need to put shooting out there around them. Like, you look at all these contending, teams. What do they all have in common? They can shoot the ball.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting. I see your hat. Detroit Lions, love it, man. Also, really quick, too, do you have a chance? You and I went to the Red Wings game the other day, and they were giving away Sergei Fedorov stuff. Did you open that up?
I did not.
I did, dude. It's pretty dope. It's like a hockey stick inside there.
Yeah.
A Red Wing, and then like it has a Fedorov there's a piece of paper that talks about him, but like the hockey stick is like real material and it's small in there. Dude.
Oh, that's dope.
It is dope. Okay.
It's a nice piece of memorabilia.
It is nice. Listen, the thing that we missed at the game, because we left a little early, is
Jared Goff.
We missed it, man.
Jared Goff.
Oh,
Yeah,
I was like so
we left with
disappointed.
3 minutes left to go on the clock. We were up 3-0, so we just tried to beat the traffic. But yeah, I did see the clip of that. I just laughed.
Me too, man, because I know we would have been there doing that, but we had a couple.
Oh,
We had, and it made me think, Josh, because I know people can relate to this. Who's the sports fan out there that's annoying when you go to a game and they're annoying? Because we had a couple guys behind us and they were just talking the whole time about nonsense stuff. And I have no problem talking about sports, but like you're there to watch the game, are you not? So if you're a
right.
sports fan,
Talk about the game in front of you.
talk about the game in front of you.
Right.
So I like that guy's annoying, and then I think the guy that like yells out like, "Come on, wings!" or like, "Come on!" Like they can't hear you, bro. They can't hear
Right.
you, right? Like they're not listening to
Yeah.
you. They don't care what you say. For me, that's the guy. Josh, who's the annoying sports fan when you're going to a game, you're by him, or you see him out there? What's that one thing that a fan can do that you find annoying?
Oh, it's the fan that talks and they don't know what they're talking about.
'Cause
Like to me, that tops the list, and I don't think it's close. Like if you're gonna talk about it, like know about it. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? Like I'm not a political guy. I don't talk politics because I don't know politics. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I would never talk about it. So like yeah, it's kind of a big pet peeve of mine. It's probably number one on my list for sure.
Yeah, I mean, same here. Like, my wife will go with me to a baseball game, say for example, and Kate will watch some of it, but she watches people, and I don't have a problem with it. I know who my wife is, and I know who I'm taking to the game. But, like, if I go with you, it's a different experience, right? We're more locked in.
Oh,
Now, I do, there is, like, the fan that you'll go with that will, say you're a first date or like early on in a relationship and they keep asking you questions about, at a game like what about this, and you don't want to be like you only get 5 questions.
no,
but you know what I mean.
With me, I'm second on roll before we even get to the park. Like, listen, like I understand you don't know the game. You told me that, but listen, I've also told you like I love watching the game. Like, don't bother me, don't interrupt me. Like,
Right.
we can talk at dinner. We can talk on the car ride there. We can talk on the car ride back. Like, there's plenty of time for talking. You know what I'm saying?
That is 100% it. Like if I'm taking you to a game, I care about you a lot because if I don't know you and I don't know how you interact
Right.
at a game, I don't want to be there with you. And,
Right.
and it's not me being mean. It's just like I know what I want to. I'm there to watch the game. I'm dialed in. I have to be. I'm not there to be like,
Yeah.
oh, it's a beautiful day and I just want to be here to eat a hot dog. No, I want to watch the
Yeah.
game. I want to keep. That's just how I am, and it's just how we're built.
Yeah,
So
no, 100%. Yeah, 100%. It just kind of ruins the experience, honestly, with 1,000 questions.
agreed.
No offense to the women out there. No offense to the
No.
women out there who
Hey,
understand the game, but like we're willing to work with you and answer all your questions, but just not at the game.
and let's be real, man. There's women out there that know the game more than me. So I mean, and I'm sure there's women out there that know more than you, right? So I haven't
Right.
met them yet, but I know that they're out there. So I'm gonna get in trouble here. So I'm gonna switch the topic. But hey, Detroit Lions, Deebo Samuel, good to go.
Yep.
He'll be in the lineup. I personally think that he's hurting. And yeah, I know they must have shot his arm up with something, and
Cortisone, right?
yeah, right. But the dude ain't gonna be 100%. He's out there as Deebo the decoy. I don't think he's gonna go for 100 yards. If I'm being honest, I think Deebo goes maybe like I say like 30 yards maybe the whole game. I don't think he'll be Deebo. Now that doesn't matter because they got Kittle, Ayuk, they got Jennings who had a good game
CMC.
last year.
Right,
CMC,
CMC, like
Purdy can do some things.
Elijah Mitchell as a backup running back.
Elijah
like,
Mitchell could be a starter on some teams. So, and he
Yeah.
was with the Niners for a while. So, yeah, that could happen as well. They got players, man, and Jennings last week was pretty good. He was really good. He picked up the slack. Now, I would rather go down because CMC, had 200 yards or whatever than Jennings beating me. He better not beat us. Right? If
Right.
Christian McCaffrey beats us and we lose, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not being a weak fan, but I'm going to say this was a good year. If we get dominated in that game, I'm going to be kind of sour.
Yeah, no. If CMC beats you, it's kind of concern for me because the one thing they've been good at all year is stopping the runs. You have to make him.
But he's different.
Just I understand he's different, but you have to continue to dominate the way that you have most of the year, and that's stopping the run. You have to make CMC one-dimensional. Now, is he going to get Absolutely. He's going for 100 all-purpose yards. We know that. He's
Yeah.
going to score a touchdown or two. We know that. He's said, but yeah, you have to make him one-dimensional. You have to make him a passer. And you have to, keep, Brock Purdy, I guess, the game in his hands, make him a thrower.
Now,
which I mean, by the numbers this year is kind of scary because he leads the league. First
right.
yards per attempt, completion percentage, QBR, like all that stuff. So,
yeah, we'll see. It's going to be interesting, man. But I really believe that this team has a really good shot. Now, one thing I will say, the media doesn't give Detroit any love, hasn't given them any love this week. It's all been Niners, Debo's in, it's Lamar. And okay, that's fine because we like being the underdog. Jared Goff's been the underdog his whole career. That's cool. We'll do it. I would love to see Jameson Williams absolutely break out and go over 100 yards in this game. I would love it.
Yeah, no, you have to take the top off the ball a couple times. You have to go deep to Jameson.
And you can on this defense, Josh. You can.
Yeah, that's two things you can do on this defense. You can definitely run between the tackles,
yep,
and outside, and with the a top 1, 2, or 3 offensive line like we have, I expect them to have 100+ running yards.
Yeah.
And then again, like we said, in our last podcast, like their secondaries, they're good because their front seven makes them look good.
100%. And I'll say this though, looking at the last 5 games, I was checking out Chase Young. He ain't done anything. Chase Young has done nothing. It's been Bosa that's been the monster, and he's arguably, him, Watt, Hutch, there's a bunch of them out there. Crosby, in my opinion, I
Garrett,
like him the most. Right.
Garrett.
Oh, yeah. Any of those guys you want to talk about, they're dudes. Bosa's one of those dudes. Now, Young used to be. He hurt his knee a couple years ago, and I think he's kind of a shell of himself, but he's still Chase Young, right? He's better than we have as a number 2. So now Houston is going to be in there. I expect him. See, this is one of the things that irritated me. The dudes were at the hockey game were like, oh, he'll play 10 snaps. No. He's not going to be in there getting 10 snaps.
If he's activated, he's playing.
He's playing in a big role.
Look at this game.
Has to, because we don't get any help on the other side. Aleem McNeil's helped with pressure. That's great, but I need something over on that other edge because Hutch right now, he's been a monster, but dude, he's getting double teamed every play.
I mean, I will say, Okoro last game against the Bucs did have a couple pressures that I noticed. So that's which kind of allowed Hutch to do a little bit of something, but we need more out of Okoro, and Houston especially coming back. McNeil, has the nose tackle spot, just getting pressure so Hutch can do his thing on the outside.
Yeah.
And that's going to be the key to the game, in my opinion. And getting pressure on that offensive unit for the 49ers.
We know Khalif Raymond is going to be out, but
Jonah Jackson.
But they did take the injury designation off Frank Ragnow, which I knew he was going to play, but he's getting a little healthier, and that's good because we've said it and we'll say it again. Without Frank Ragnow, we're done. Yeah. Frank Ragnow is the heart and soul because, and you know what? Listen, you got 2 dudes, man, at running back. You got 2 dudes, but I need Gibbs to dominate the snaps. I need him to dominate those snaps because not just as a runner, but as a pass catcher too.
Yeah, no, you've kept him in his cage long enough. Let's unleash him.
Yeah.
Let's let's unleash the beast that Jahmyr Gibbs is. I need 20 to 22 touches from him, whether it's catching the ball, running the ball. He has to dominate that backfield against Stafford.
You got McCaffrey. Well, we got a dude that's like McCaffrey, and we got to show him because a lot of people don't know who Jahmyr Gibbs is. Let's show the world, man. This is the stage right now. Do it. And Jared, got to play mistake-free football. This is not a game because it's playoffs. You're going to get minimal possessions, right? You only get so many possessions here. It's not going to be 55-50 game. You're only going to get so many possessions. You cannot make mistakes. And he's done a good job of that the last few weeks. But when he gets pressure, he throws off that back foot, gets a little erratic, and we know he does not have the speed to get out of the pocket. So it's going to be big.
Yeah, he's gotta learn to throw the ball away this week. That's got to be a focal point at practice. If I'm Dan Campbell and Ben Johnson, hey, they're good. over there. They're going to get pressure on you. Don't force it and throw it away.
Yeah.
Like that's got to be a focal point at practice this week because we've seen it from time to time over the last 3 years. With golf, I mean, probably 10 interceptions just by forcing the ball. Like you can't do that stage.
Yeah, I mean, his receivers rarely put him in a spot where it's on them. Rarely, because you got guys that catch the ball. I mean, that's one thing I can say about this team is they're one of the best teams at catching the ball. We already know about St. Brown, but Laporta, dude, is not a rookie. He don't play like a rookie. Yeah. And I think it's going to be – I'm excited to see Zach Ertz in a Lions jersey. I know it's near the end of his career, but maybe he does something big here. Maybe he helps them in a big way. He's going to be a pass threat than anybody else they had in terms of –
speaking of Ertz, though, if I'm being honest with you, I'm running a lot of 2 tight end sets.
Why not? Why not?
Because the one thing Ertz is going to do, you obviously got to account for him because he can catch the ball. He's phenomenal at that.
Right.
So it's going to free up Laporte. It's going to free up Laporte. It's going to free up Amon-Ra. It's going to free up J-Mo downfield. Like, there's got to be a lot of one-on-one coverage if you put those 2 tight ends on the field at the same time.
Yeah, with Khalif Raymond out and Donovan Peoples-Jones not really giving you anything, then I'm doing that. Now, I don't know if it's DPJ not doing anything or they're not looking at him. He was very subpar in the punt return game. But, I mean, I guess you ride with him because he's the only guy that's got experience at that spot. I mean, you can't just change it up this late in the year, right?
You got Josh Reynolds. You got Josh Reynolds, the number 3, who's been to a Super Bowl as well. So,
but in terms of, like, punt returns, it's got to be DPJ.
Oh, punt returns, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's got to be DPJ. Yeah, he's got the familiarity with that role, so it's got to be him.
And I think that could be big in this game, special teams. And think about it, Josh. We got a dude in Badgley. I know he kicked a 50-yarder versus the Rams, but like he's kind of unproven. They're not big. They changed kickers late in the season. They get let go of Riley Patterson and did that. I thought it was really weird. I hope that doesn't come back to hurt them.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like if it's anything over 45 yards, like I'm nervous.
Right.
I'm nervous
because you're outdoors now too.
But I'm also nervous. I'm also nervous at a 50-yarder, 49-yard field goal outdoor. Let's say, it's 4th and 4 at that point. He's going to go for it if he doesn't have the faith in, the faith in Badgley, which irritates me because if you don't get it, you're giving them good field position. So I mean, it's just something else to think of.
Michigan guy on the other side, Jake Moody's got a big leg. So if it comes down to it, they have the true advantage.
A couple Michigan guys over there with Ronnie Bell as well.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, Ronnie Bell, man.
So, Jake Moody though, he's been good this year, but he's not been as good as I expected. He's had some interesting misses that I've seen, and I've only know this because he was one of my fantasy kickers.
Well, I mean, look at the Cleveland game, right? He lost that game, right? Could have won that. Had a lot of family in front of him. Had a tough game there. They didn't go to the kicking game as much. Actually, they went to him fewer than most teams. I believe they were near the bottom. Because they're the Niners. They score touchdowns.
Speaking of that Browns game, that's a game tape that I'm turning on this week if I'm the Lions. Like that was a perfect recipe.
PJ Walker beat him, man. Yeah. So I think Goff is better than PJ Walker. Am I right?
Yeah,
right?
No, I agree. But even more so, I think that defense won that game. And Miles was just wreaking havoc.
They did.
Like they were just wreaking havoc. That defense just dominating. So I mean that's got to be the game plan and the recipe here for the Lions to run the ball and win the line of scrimmage on both sides.
Well, when Purdy doesn't have Debo, a healthy Debo, he's a different guy. And I know they say he's going to go, but Josh, I don't know how you feel. I do not think he's close to 100%.
Yeah, I don't think Debo's 100% either, though. But I think he's got to be close to 100%. Or else I don't think the Niners.
Oh, really?
I don't think the Niners risk his health like that, especially this close to the Super Bowl. Knowing, let's say he's 75%. Like I would take 75% of Debo over 100% Juwan Jennings.
Does he start?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
I think so.
He's not. If he's not starting, he's not healthy enough to play.
I will tell you this though. This is what I can almost guarantee, and it does help Detroit. We're not going to see Debo in like carrying the ball or doing any reverses or anything like that, and that helps. It does because Debo can run the ball as good as any running back. He can. Yeah. And I'm not saying like you're going to take carries away from CMC, but they do that. They like those looks and they like to change it up. But I will say one thing that we struggle with is dominant receivers, and he's a dominant receiver. So I hope he's not 100%. I hope he's not close. I know
I
what
mean,
you say.
speaking of dominant receivers, I think Ayuk's more dangerous than Debo is at this point.
Well, I think Ayuk is a complete receiver.
Ayuk finished 1,342 yards, 7 touchdowns, seventh in the league. After the regular season in receiving yards. I mean, he's definitely something that you have to,
Yeah, I mean, you got to account for him. You got to account for him. Well, Josh, we're running up on it here, man. But big game. I'll leave you with this last thing here. The Lions win if they do what?
Like I said, no pressure on the quarterback. Aiden Hutchinson has to wreak havoc. That defense has to come out and play a great game. You're at that point of the year now. You're at that point of the year now. Like, you're not going to walk into Carolina, you know what I mean? Like, you're playing legit teams. Like, you got to put an effort in on both sides of the ball. And I think the Lions defense doesn't show up. I think this could be a really ugly game. If their defense does show up, they can win the game. So yeah, it's going to be depending on that defensive line, that front seven really to take it home for the Lions.
All right, man. Well, let's see what happens. We'll get this episode out there. We'll be back on Monday, probably around 7:30ish. So let's go, Detroit, man. Big opportunity here. We could be talking about a Super Bowl on Monday, man.
Yes, sir. Let's hope.
All right, man. Peace out. See you, Clark.
Peace out, brother.